All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are back at it. It is Thursday, and it is time to break down the market, see what is up. Hmm. Let's go. I'm just going to put some tunes on here. Good morning, there. Hope all is well. I am doing well. It's been a pretty good week, all things considered. Mhm. Wow, Hertz is up again. I don't understand. Why? Right, markets are looking red this morning so far, but that doesn't mean much this early. That's not a huge amount of red. All right, let's see. Interesting. Oh no. Yeah, it seems to be making a decent move actually. I've got a decent position there. Where's my portfolio here? I mean, when I'm going through this, it's interesting seeing all of the different estimates because, like, right now this has a big upside to it. So ACRX has a big upside to it. Everything here is close to double. MFA is the only one that's not, but I'm okay holding MFA for a long time. DMPI is double from where it is. This is the one I really got to start watching. I got to start watching later for an entry. Okay, Disney's going to postpone Mulan again. Hmm. Hmm. Rip Chuck E. Cheese. I want to see them get out of Uber. They beat on EPS and missed on revenue. I want to take a look at that. Airlines continue to be hurt. Right. Bad COVID news is good news for vaccine and drug makers, and that also includes Waiter. Canadian dollar goes down. Not a huge shocker there. LLNW. Limelight Networks? Hmm. Conversations around MFA here. Still waiting on news from China on Westport. That K-Tov. This is just technicals. I don't need time to pay a little attention again. Articles like this drive me nuts. They all just cut and paste the same crap. This is nuts. This company has been back and forth on this trade, on this buyout so many freaking times. Wow, interesting. So this interface now has to pay ACRX. They already had to pay ACRX 2 million for canceling that agreement. Now they have to pay Melinta 1.5 million for canceling this one. And if they cancel the one with Lajola, it's 2 million that they owe them. It's a dangerous game they're playing. Okay, let's see. Who are the big pre-market movers here? Good morning, everybody. Boris, how you doing, buddy? Levi. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted invest something. Mm, yeah, there's Keytub there. Novio, I know. See, this is very interesting to me that the Department of Defense buys into Inovio and it goes up 70%. What they're funding here is the device, though. They're not. It's not. Yeah, it's not the vaccine that they're funding. It's the device, the portable syringe. Yeah, I think at this point it's a moot point. COVID testing sites being open or not isn't going to change the fact that there's still an issue to deal with. But again, making the issue the focus is also a bit of an issue where it's like, well, what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Everybody's already doing their, whether they're choosing to social distance or not at this point is on them. They're grown ass adults. They need to make their own damn decisions. Um, as far as sanitizer and social distancing, that's on you as a person. I'm a huge advocate of the government shouldn't be in charge of your actions. You should be responsible for your own actions. Make your own adult decisions. So, I mean, as far as the testing centers being closed, not all testing centers will be closed, and you will be able to go get a test if you need a test. However, I understand the knee jerk reaction from a lot of the news, press, and media on it. Yeah, Inovio's only in a phase 1 trial. I could see this. I think this is good for them because if this is the system of administration they want to use, um, great. This is great for INO because regardless of the vaccine that's chosen, this device, this 3PSP device they use, um, could be a potential use, irregardless of which vaccine they go with. I'll wait. I'll hold my breath and wait and see what the numbers are like because there's a pretty high benchmark right now. Berlacidin came out with a 97% effective rate. I haven't seen anything else through phase 1 trials in a federal lab that performed at that level. So we'll see. We'll see. Head of Operation Warp Speed. Monsef. I wonder if he's on LinkedIn, this general guy, too. Military guys just tend not to be on here unless they're retired. Okay, Operation Warp Speed, vaccine hesitancy. I want to see what it is they are actually looking at. He doesn't like the term warp speed. That's interesting. They're making doses even if they don't know it works. Okay, so what he was saying there, guys, is um, the way that they're currently doing the labs is they Operation Warp Speed has selected their finalists. Of these finalists, they've already built stage 3 labs for them, even though they don't have stage 3 results. And what they're doing is they're pouring money into those stage 3 labs, preparing doses of the vaccine before it has the final test results, so that even when it shows itself to be an effective treatment, they already have the doses created to be able to send out into the market. So typically the process is you do a phase 1, and then if the studies are good, you escalate your production to a phase 2 level, and then if phase 2 is good, the company then goes to a phase 3 level. What Operation Warp Speed is doing is, from the selection of companies that it has chosen, of the 5 finalists, it has decided, okay, we are going to produce a whole bunch of vaccines of this as we head into phase 2 and phase 3 trials. And that way, if one of these shows themselves to be the vaccine, fantastic. That's what we'll use. Now, my issue with this is, if one of the 5 proves to be the vaccine, fantastic. There's no sign that you're going to recover what you spent, but that's not the point at this point. It's just to save the economy and stop people from dying. So that's 1 out of 5. What if 5 out of the 5 prove to be ineffective? You will have created millions of doses for nothing. For nothing. Um, so the 5 that are here: AstraZeneca, J&J, Merck, Moderna, and Pfizer. J&J and Merck haven't even started clinical trials yet. Moderna's going to start their 30,000 participant trial in July. I'm very interested to see the. Okay, let's go to Moderna, because I want to see their results. I want to see the results thus far. No, this isn't mRNA COVID phase 2 results. Okay, phase 1 results. Okay, phase 1 label, open label dose ranging clinical trial males and non-pregnant females starting at 18 years of age. So there's no pediatric treatment here. Non-pregnant females, good health, so nobody that's already in ill health, which is common for phase 1 studies. I'll give them that, but um, so safety, reactogenicity, and immunogenicity. So this is the one that I'm interested in. What was the reaction of the virus to the vaccine? 155 participants. This is a variety of different doses that they tried from, looks like the lowest is 10 micrograms all the way up to 250. Okay. Male or female, male non-pregnant female over the age of 18, BMI, so not overweight. Has to be absent, not sexually active. Has to be abstinent through the entire process. Have to have a negative pregnancy test before receiving the vaccine. No sperm donation. No high heart rate, no high blood pressure. So obesity's out. Anybody that's overweight is out. Anybody that's too old is out. Anybody that's too young is out. Anybody that's pregnant is out. Anybody that's sexually active is out. Can't have any kidney, no neurological problems, autoimmune. It's a very specific group that they tested phase 1 on. But if they're this healthy, then. So that's the enrollment. What are the results? No results posted? We don't have any results from this thing? was generally safe and well tolerated. That means that there were issues. This doesn't present. This doesn't present data. Is there really no phase one results available? So, of the 45 volunteers in the phase one trial of Moderna's vaccine, only eight, only data from eight were given in the results from the phase one study. So, eight of 45, and those were the only ones. They didn't share the details around who those volunteers were, their age. This isn't good. This is really bad. No results. Companies not release sufficient information to gauge whether the phase one subject had protective immune responses, which is widely considered by immunologists to involve more than simply producing antibodies. There were oh, it's exciting because it's safe. Well, guys, We had 12,000 drugs that they looked at. 12,000 drugs that they looked at that were safe, that are already being used on the market. That's not exciting. So this is interesting because they're already moving forward into a phase 3 trial, but we still don't have phase 1 results. Not my full-time job. No, I'm a digital marketing consultant and a international public speaker. I do trade. I do my morning due diligence. I do take trades throughout the day. I do have a long hold portfolio. Um, my portfolio has seen decent growth, about 900% so far this year, which isn't bad. I'm pretty happy with that. Um, I enjoy it. I enjoy breaking these things down, reading them, and understanding what's going on. But this is concerning, guys. Okay, so AstraZeneca is the other one. So let's see. AstraZeneca vaccine phase 1 results. What's up, Sanui? No, I'm not rich. I want the phase 1 results from AstraZeneca. This is interesting. We don't have results from any of these. Eno 4800. So no, man, my mind is kind of getting blown here that none of these leading vaccine candidates have actually given us any phase 1 results. Okay, if anybody can find me phase one results from any of these companies, that would be fantastic. I'm gonna assume that this guy here, yeah, this guy here is the guy that I need to talk to. Right here. Here's the problem. No results posted. Primary completion date. Second. No, this is not it. No. No, this is 2015. This completion date on this study. Crossover two vaccines, volunteers divided in groups, blah blah blah, studied, blah blah blah. 72. No. Okay, search AZD phase one results. Okay, let's see here. So this one from Cancino Biologics. 50% of those who received a medium dose developed neutralizing antibodies. It's not particularly good or impressive. This is just it. Nobody's seen the data, so they can't make an assessment of the efficacy of the drug, which is a huge problem. I understand what's quite encouraging. There's no data. What are you encouraged by? The fact that we're moving forward? All they're testing for, the only thing that's moving them, the impetus moving people forward, is that there's no level 4 events happening in increased dosage or um, increased consistency of treatment. So um, people are showing irritation and people are showing common things, nausea, general discomfort, diarrhea, things of that nature, illness, but nothing serious, nothing like their lungs are failing, their liver's failing, they're dying as a result of the vaccine, which is causing them to just move forward to the next trial. Um, my issue is just because it's not killing people doesn't mean that it's also saving people. Um, I really wish that there was some data to look at. This is mind blowing to me that not one of these companies has dropped phase one data. I think this is huge. So while Cancino came out and their data wasn't encouraging, it wasn't. I mean, it is something at least, right? It's 50% effective. At least they put their data out, and I agree with this guy. Don't go on TV telling people you're gonna have a vaccine ready for September without sharing the data. And I'm there, like nothing. We don't have data on any of these drugs. What are we doing? None of them. None of the candidates have phase one results. Not Moderna, not AstraZeneca, not INO, none of them. they've completed phase one studies and they've released snippets from the notes, so overviews, but they haven't released the data on the report itself. So if you go to most of these, let's go to, see if I can find something here that has medical results, phase one tests. Let's go to something like Keytruda. Phase 2-3 trials getting underway despite the university being yet to share their phase 1 data. AstraZeneca, no data. I mean, I think my bigger issue is, yeah, I guess my biggest issue is people are talking about this positive movement moving forward into additional trials when you don't have data from the preceding trials is not good news. And unfortunately, while CanSino put out results, it's from China. I can't trust their data unless this is verified by another party. I mean, it almost feels like somebody said, "Well, we need something, so just push through whatever we got." I want to hear from a doctor on this. I want to hear from somebody in the field of like, help me understand. Help me grasp what I'm seeing here, that we are rushing forward to dosing 30,000 people with something that we don't have complete phase 1 data on. We're moving to phase 3 before we have phase 1 data. This is contrary to everything that should be. Unless the basis is, well, we have the data, we're just not releasing it to the public, which I don't know is any better. Wirecard's done. Yeah, we have no idea. Other than 8 candidates in the Moderna study, 8 of the initial 45 showed some level of immune response. But it doesn't tell us any details about who those 8 were. It doesn't tell us what level of response they had. It doesn't tell us about the other 30 plus members of the trial and how they performed in response to the vaccine. None of it. None of it. Okay, I want to use. So it looks like this one was last updated on the 22nd. So let's go to Sodercept phase 2 data. Okay, so here is what phase 2 data looks like. This isn't a typical medical report. I'd like to see the actual report. Um, Science and Pipeline publications. Okay, Science and Pipeline. Sodercept. Okay, so here's the presentation. Basically, this is what I'd like to see in a breakdown of trial results. Okay, so they've got a general list of disclosures. This is all of the different companies that may be related to it in some way. So they've either supported, they've delivered funding, whatever. So you can see a bunch of names here. This one's the only one really of interest to me, and this one, Acceleron and Johnson and Johnson. Okay, so it's saying what's the disease that we're working on. Um, so progressive. The cause of this is progressive structural remodeling of the small pulmonary artery. So we're talking about arteries inside your lungs. Consequences: right heart failure and death. Okay, so water in the arteries, essentially. So here's what looks normal. Here's what it looks like when you've got this disease. It explains how the disease works. It explains how it wants to treat it. I'm not going to go into too much depth because this isn't actually COVID. This is another disease. I'm just trying to show you guys an example of what a proper phase 2 result should look like. And they're required to present this data before they move forward to phase 3, which is what's bothering me, is that we're not seeing this. Okay, so identifying the role of this preclinical research. Okay, this is how it works. This is an outline as to how the study is going to work. So 334 is a split of placebo to small dosage to slightly higher dosage. And then those who did receive placebo will then get an extension and start using this afterwards. And what this provides them the ability to do is say, okay, in the first 24 weeks, what were the results that we had? Okay, did the drug outperform placebo? If yes, then they move forward to an extended period of 18 months and try the people that were on placebo with the two dosage. And what this does is give them an added group to test these against, an increased understanding of the value of these doses. So in a phase 2 study, this is really well constructed because what you've got is you will know in 24 weeks whether or not you outperform placebo. And if you outperform placebo, then you have an additional group that you can start studies on over an 18-week period and get initial results from them. Okay, so they took patients from Europe, Australia, Brazil, the US, which is important. People think that may not be important. That's a huge deal. If you're testing a vaccine in North America versus in Africa, you're going to find a lot of people that have a different there's a higher risk of disease depending on where you are, right? If you take people from a country that typically has things like malaria or Hep C or HIV, I'm not saying all countries in Africa have high levels of HIV, but there are high levels of HIV in many countries in Africa. So just on as a generalized stereotype, but also malaria is quite common there. Quality of health as a whole is slightly less. So Brazil would probably be the only red flag that I see on this one right now. But uh, so the endpoints that they're studying right now are primary endpoints. So they want to see a change in your vascular resistance, so your ability to breathe. They want to see how far you can walk in 6 minutes, and then a bunch of additional endpoints. So this is outlining we know what the problem is, we know what the drug does or claims to want to do. We know where they're treating people from. We know what the trial process is going to look like. We know what they're trying to achieve by testing this. Um, all randomized subjects receive at least one dose. Here are the results: breakdown by age, demographic, etc., etc., etc. So what we have here is um, these are your baseline characteristics. So this is what you can expect in the population. Here's the performance numbers that we're seeing on dosage versus placebo. So placebo that we see in the first 24-week period is less than the 7 milligram. So the 7 milligram dosage performed best out of all of them. This is giving you a breakdown of performance uh, favoring sotatercept dependent on male female. So male was significantly less, favoring more the placebo than the 7 milligrams. With female, it was about neutral. It wasn't more to one side or the other. And then it's got a breakdown of all the different baseline setups. This is all to do with the drug specifically. I don't know enough about this illness to be able to break down what these are, but if you're somebody that knew this illness and was trading this drug, you'd be able to break down, okay, well, what are the results that we're seeing in other, whatever this other is? It leans much more to sotatercept than whatever. I'm not going to trade this thing, so I don't need to have that there. But what you're seeing here now is the 3 milligram group. Again, males don't prefer this; they prefer placebo, so it doesn't work well in men. Is an easy conclusion to make from this data. There is some efficacy in females, but males not so much. 6 minute walk distance, placebo, sotatercept. So this is all doses combined. So there was an increased performance in the 6 minute walk in both cases. These are potential downsides, so headache, diarrhea, peripheral edema, dizziness, fatigue, hypokalemia, and nausea. So this is saying that we achieved it based off of the 6 minute walk. That's the data they're using to say that this was successful. Um, Proof of concept has been demonstrated, so they're moving to a phase 3 program off of this. Now, I will say that something that I would be taking note on is the poor results of male placebo. This is bad with placebo outperforming in men. So this may be a potential treatment. Yeah, you would be a patient who already has the disease, and your doctors would keep you informed that there is a potential trial. Typically, you tell your physician, "I'm willing to do anything or try anything," and they go, "Okay, great. We'll put you on a list. Um, we'll put you on a list for potential treatments for this that come up." And as they come up, they introduce them to you, introduce the potential risk to it. But for a lot of this stuff, guys, so imagine that you are COVID, or maybe you're really bad in COVID, and your next of kin is deciding for you, and they say, "Well, we have a vaccine that could potentially work. We're not sure. Would you be willing to take dosages of mRNA or INO or whatever it is? Pick your vaccine. Would you be willing to try it? It could kill you, but it could save you." And sometimes when things get worse and worse and worse, and you're looking at a loved one in pain and dying, you want to give them at least that shot, right? Literally and figuratively. Of you want to give them the chance, because if you didn't do it, if you did nothing and you waited for a confirmed vaccine and they pass away, the family's going to regret not having tried at least the treatment that was available. So that's where that compassionate care designation from the FDA is so crucial. A compassionate care designation allows you the ability to um, we got bigger problems than who's voice acting a cartoon character. Okay. Yeah, without the compassionate care designation, they couldn't even try to take the vaccine. The doctors can't prescribe it legally. You need to have that there. Okay, so we've got a bunch of orphan designations. I know you guys can't see the drop down menu. You probably just see my mouse kind of hovering here. I am looking at a drop down menu right where my cursor is. You guys just can't see it because it's an extension. Currently looking through my press releases on. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're allowed to invest in them or not. It feels like not. Operation Warp Speed, the guy had a ton of Moderna shares and was forced to exit his position in them. Wow, this thing has a significant room for growth here. I mean, this has me really baffled now, as there's no. Maybe there's reports from Operation Warp Speed? Reports from Operation Warp Speed. There's nothing as of this week. Okay. Alright, fine. If it's free, I'll sign up. Okay, here we go. Here's some news. Army general leading warp speed. Interesting. Well, this site is fantastic for a bio trader. This site is fantastic. I'm gonna have to rip through this quite a bit more. Okay. Yeah, Trump's issue here. They had suspicion of them working with China. No, no. They asked the general whether or not he would be open to working with any nation um, in order to produce a vaccine, regardless of who they were. And he said, "No, I would be willing to work with anyone the U.S. considers an ally." And they said, "Do you currently consider China an ally?" And he said, "No, at this time, I do not." So Trump's issue here is that the media loves how Fauci has responded to the outbreak, but at the same time, they're taking a dump on how Trump has treated it. In reality, Trump's saying, "Well, Fauci's response is our response. So what are you talking about?" Hey, form faux hermit. I'm not sure how to say that, but I'm gonna go with Foe. What's up, Foe? So I mean, what's interesting is they're saying because the doctors are placed. So this chart here, I can't really open it. Open image in new tab. Maybe it's bigger. No, it's not. Maybe I can. It's not the greatest quality, but okay. So the way that this is a breakdown of the FEMA. So this is a response team around COVID. What you have here is the physical physician advisory group. So this is where Fauci and Deborah, that's where these guys are, right? They're over here. You'll notice that there's no team under them, and they have no direct connection to um, the president. What they do have access to is the Unified Coordination Group. This is where Pence is. This is where the team's making the decision about national stockpile. That's where this is. Domestic manufacturing. This is specifically the production of vaccine. And I can't read this one. Oh, this is Operation Warp Speed. So this is the branch that's focusing specifically on those 5 candidates. So you'll note that all 3 of these are not interconnected, with the exception of domestic production. So both Operation Warp Speed and the Unified Coordination Group both have access to domestic production, which then funnels back down into um, back under Pence's supervision. There's no point where it doesn't eventually funnel back into that. Their issue is that because this group doesn't have any mandate, they're not above anybody. They can't actually make a decision. Formed, formed. Got it. What's up, formed? Um, my issue with that is it assumes that because they're over here, that Pence isn't listening to the physicians, and I don't think that assumption can be made because Pence has shown himself to actually be quite good about listening to the physicians. So yeah, CBC continues to do what it does. So, this is in regards to Fauci speaking. Well, that'll be interesting at this time of the day. Um, Fauci and Hahn were both called in front of the House Energy and Commerce Committee to find out whether Trump asked public officials to slow down COVID testing to increase case counts. Um, One of the conversations that took place in this was with the elections upcoming that Trump would be pushing through a vaccine faster just for the sake of the election that's upcoming. So he had positive news going in. Hahn immediately said, there's no way that will happen. Only data is going to determine when a vaccine and therapeutics go to market. Now, my issue with that is we haven't seen any data. We haven't seen phase 1 data, and we're pushing for phase 3 data and saying by September we will be into this. Um, what data? All of them denied they'd been directed to impede testing efforts and said they were committed to increase testing. The White House has a goal to conduct 40 to 50 million tests a month by the fall. There is no phase one data on any of the COVID candidates. I was looking for, as we got an announcement of the phase three trial that's upcoming with Moderna, we don't actually have their phase one data yet. We don't have phase one data from AstraZeneca, Pfizer, J&J, Merck, and Inovia. In fact, the only one that we have any data from are the outliers, the ones that aren't part of Operation Warp Speed. And there is some phase one data from those guys. This will be interesting. I don't know that people are going back to school in September. I don't. I don't think it's going to happen. If we head into flu season without a vaccine, I just can't see it. Francis Collins. Hmm? Hmm? Director of the National Institute of Health, Francis Collins. Great. Let's connect to that guy. So this has been a major inhibitor for AstraZeneca is that they haven't found a way to produce it. Symbiosis is going to do that, so that's good for AstraZeneca. Interesting. He's saying genetically blood types are showing that people who are an A blood type are more susceptible to the virus as opposed to those who are an O or a B. Interesting. So this is interesting. He's saying that when he's wearing the mask, it's not to protect himself, it's actually to protect everybody else around you. Who gets vaccinated first? That's a big question. Who gets the vaccine first? Okay, let's take a look at this active thing, because apparently this is a group run by the NIH, NIAID. Search Google for active. Okay. Good morning, Daniel. How you doing, buddy? Vaccines active is looking at. There's nothing recently, really? Okay, remdesivir. We knew that one. This is Z-Pak with hydroxychloroquine. I want to know who are the RBLs under? RBL US COVID. Okay, so these biocontainment labs are under the NIH. Okay. They're still saying no vaccine till 2021. No results. Mm. I want to know what lab is testing Burlacidin. Just trying to track down. Maybe the better way to go is innovation pharma. Okay. Nobody in common. NIH. Um. Yeah, I mean, I have been in iPicks from the go. I have a certain price point for it, so I plan on staying in it until that point. Um, I don't know that it will decline back down to that level or not. Um, Just trying to track down some people that might be able to answer some questions at the NIH about what next steps look like. Yeah, I mean the thing with Belasin is it got COVID news, which caused a lot of people to buy in, and then it didn't. It did what biostocks do. It's called, well, I call it biodegradation, right? So when you look at any biostock out there that gets good news, especially these low float ones, right? What you see is this slow decline. Oh, they got good news. Oh, slow decline. Oh, they got good news. And that's typically how these low biostocks work. So if you look at iPicks, I don't even know if this will come up. Okay, well, um, if we go back out 10 years, okay, so bam, good news, good news, good news. Okay, we're gonna decline. Okay, we're gonna decline. Okay, we're gonna decline. Okay, we're gonna decline. Oh, a little bit of good news. Oh, we're gonna decline. Oh, that last spike there is the good news. It really for me is like, okay, well, at 40 cents, if this is a new level, it creates for itself, fantastic. If not, oh well. The data on this is just what they're the one of the few candidates out there that's actually dropping. What I'd love to hear is just an announcement from. Thank you, West Face BB, um, for the follow. Um, yeah, guys, the with their financials not looking great, I'm actually wondering when we hear of a company that currently doesn't have anything in production, just swooping in and buying them. Okay. I mean, this is my big issue is they're saying, well, we're not cutting corners. Meanwhile, we are now approaching phase 3 trials on Moderna without having phase 1 data. That's that's insane. For anybody that trades bio, that's absolutely insane. Interesting. He's saying it's more likely that we see a treatment than a vaccine in the fall. This is good. They're testing sample groups now based off of where they're seeing the outbreak. Lower socioeconomic groups, typically African American. Yeah, I mean, I from almost the get go, I've been saying that Moderna's numbers just don't add up for me. They were first to the game and they got the press, which is why they are where they are. But I would not be surprised to see that as we get the data. Yeah, that's exactly it. It, it feels like it was really good business, but really bad medicine. So cases are rising, but deaths are declining. And this could actually be really good news, guys. So if we have cases increasing, but deaths declining. And he's making the statement, well, he thinks it's mostly because of younger people, younger populations out at the beaches, out having fun, out doing whatever, and they're contracting the disease at a higher rate. That's good news because the severity of the disease in younger populations has been proven to be far less fatal, far less fatal. And if that's true, then what we're doing by reopening like this is actually creating a certain level of herd immunity. Exactly. That's exactly it, Twin Turbo. It creates the potential for herd immunity in some scope. Not an entirely effective herd immunity, but there would be some herd immunity on the exposure. Spider? Pre-market gainers, GNC up 86%. Yuck. Okay. So it's true. Even though the cases are still escalating, there's an upward slope. It's not a steep an incline as we had here, but there's still an upward slope. You'll see the deaths. Well, they're not really declining. They're stabilizing. There's a plateau here. MCR Tom, I won't say that. What I will do for you though is ban you for being a racist. So that's what we're gonna do. Bye, buddy. Um, Anybody that thinks that that kind of conduct is hilarious and funny in any way, trying to get people to use racial slurs, you need to get a life. I haven't. I can. I mean, I've done enough deep diving into this morning. I'm really disappointed actually with what we. I'm really disappointed with what I saw here this morning. Um, really, really disappointed. Let's take a look at WKHS. Okay, so that's a pretty steep incline there. Electric delivery vans. Okay, so it's an electric vehicle play. Um, I've got to be honest. As far as the electric vehicles go, yeah, I mean, I think that this is going to be a bit of an over exaggeration for it to spike as much as it has, already up to $10. It's one thing to get approval. It's one thing to actually create a pipeline and be able to do it. So just because you have deals with people doesn't mean that you actually have the ability to manufacture at the level that you need to in a profitable way. So it's one of the issues of moving from R&D to practical rollout. It takes a long time. Even look at guys as big as Tesla, where they make promises of this is when we're going to deliver this, and even with the massive billion-dollar beast that Tesla is, they still miss deadlines because it is that difficult to move from concept to practical application. So with Workhorse, it's great that they've passed their standards, they've got working models. However, it's going to be about their ability to manufacture at the level that's necessary in order to be profitable, but also keeping that in check and not having too high of a cost as far as getting that initial pipeline pumped up so that they're turning a profit and not taking a loss in getting these to market. So Shill is a another play in the electric sector. Not electric, natural gas. So Helion is the name of the truck company. So what they do is they actually turn the powertrains for diesel trucks into electric trucks. So it makes currently existing diesel trucks into hybrids. I actually really like this. Martini and I were doing a review on it. It's interesting because instead of it being a tool or a completely new truck like Nikola and Tesla are trying to do, all they're doing is converting the powertrain to a diesel electric combination. They've got some deals with they had a bunch of companies that they had deals with. Yeah, Peterbilt, Freightliner, Navistar, Volvo. Yeah, they've got a bunch of deals already. They essentially just install it here on the. Oh, this is even cooler. Hmm. So this makes the truck stronger, faster, more fuel efficient. Yeah, it's exactly that. I was just gonna say I didn't see anything in that memo there that it was a regenerative, that the braking system was actually going to recharge the unit, but that is tech that's out there. Uh, they predict it'll save a company about 10K a year. Now there is a Hypertruck here. They're claiming they have the cheapest truck, so they do have a truck that they're building as well. This is the other thing that they're touting, which looks kind of good. Well, it's just different. So Nikola is, yeah, that truck is trying to do a burnout. They do 0 to 60 in 20 seconds. Um, Fully loaded at 80,000 pounds, which is impressive. Um, because these trucks are lighter, they're able to haul more as far as freight weight goes. That's interesting. When fully loaded at 80,000 pounds, the Hypertruck can travel over 1,300 miles, charging its battery en route and can be refueled in 10 minutes or less. It's a mix of natural gas and electric power. There's 700 commercial vehicle filling stations. So these are compressed natural gas stations. This is much better than what we were seeing with the nickel option. You could definitely truck a route, especially if 1,300 miles is the distance that you can go. You could definitely truck a route in this. I like this. I like Shill. I do. I think Shill has a better chance at the market than Nikola does. So this guy on the internet claims that we're going to see INO phase one data. I'm not sure where he gets that, unless INO has made a statement to that effect. There's some preclinical data here. Next time. Okay, so they are expecting, it does say here that in June we can expect phase one trial results. So I am interested to see what those look like. This is interesting. So, guys, whenever you see something on the internet, somebody says, well, this is a fact, you have to get that from a first party source. A third party source isn't going to cut it. So, going directly to the Inovio website, there it is. Absolutely. Fantastic. Thanks for letting me know, bud. That's awesome. But don't just take people's word for it, do the due diligence. The scary thing is Moderna saying, let's go check out what Moderna's saying. They're going to give us phase one. mRNA phase one results. Yeah, this is just the same guy saying there's no data. We don't. Mm, I don't understand why the medical field isn't just up in arms about this. Yeah, it's definitely more of an expectation than a guarantee, but it's in their best interest to file those numbers if they're good. If they miss that date, it creates negative sentiment around what they're trying to accomplish. If you delay findings, mm, I've never had that happen. It sounds like it could be upticked, downticked. Okay, what would the reasons be for this? Apparently, they may not allow you to enter positions on security concerns, clearing limitations, or corporate action processing. So, if there's big news coming, if there's something of that nature, what's the company? You have a Canadian account? What platform are you trading on, Dice? That's the only thing that can come to mind for me is that because this is a Canadian stock, it's not just that it's a Canadian stock; it's that it's a Canadian penny stock, which may be the issue here. This is yeah the this is a super small Canadian penny stock. I could see IB restricting your purchases on it. So I check the second news headline. The annual filing or the creation of the U.S. subsidiary? The filings. Mm, okay, so it's a zinc air battery producer. Um, their directors and executives can't exit their stock position. They're just late filing. Is that it? Let's go to Edgar. MGXRF. No matching ticker symbol. Um, so this is not, yeah. I think your problem is that this is a Canadian penny stock. Um, I think that's probably the issue that IB is giving you on this. It's a penny stock. All right, guys, it's 7 a.m. I am going to get out of here. If you missed the start of this, we broke down the lack of phase one trial results, as well as what the market's looking like today, performance of my public portfolio. So if you want that, I do a rerun immediately after this. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not following already, do so. You can catch the rerun on Twitch live, or it will also be available over on YouTube. Take it easy, guys. I will be back tomorrow morning, 4:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then.